welcome back. Thanks for stopping by again. Today we are going to cover an episode of The Twilight Zone. In honor of the occasion, I have my brand new Twilight Zone sweater. This is the first time I've ever put it on, and I thought you guys would like it. So check it out. It's got the To Serve Man aliens on the sleeve there, some other cool stuff. There's the Invaders aliens, of course the eyeball, the doorway. It's cool. I like it, and it's comfortable too, which is also awesome. All right, and today we are going to talk about one of what I consider to be the all-time best episodes of The Zone, and that is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Okay, this one was based on a short story by Richard Matheson, and he also did the teleplay for the episode. We'll talk a little bit about Matheson because he is one of my all-time favorite authors and also content creators for film and television. Of course, he did some other great work. He did the screenplay for Duel, that Steven Spielberg early film, and that's a really good one. He also did the source material for I Am Legend. He wrote that novel, and many other great things. And then this one was also directed by the great Richard Donner. Now, if you don't know who Richard Donner is, he went on to direct some amazing work in film, including The Omen, the first Superman movie, Superman the movie, first Christopher Reeves one, and then other things like The Goonies and the Lethal Weapon films. I mean, he just went on to a really excellent film career, and he kind of got his start early here, and this was one of his earlier things. And what we'll also do is I have the clipboard of creeps, and I have a couple of cool things I looked up, and we're going to talk about some of those things. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of kicking in an old format I used to do here on my channel where I would introduce the thing we're going to talk about, then I'll pause the video, and I'm actually going to go watch the episode. I have it right here. I have my DVD of The Twilight Zone. So I'm a big fan of physical media. I believe this is streaming on the Paramount Plus network. I don't currently subscribe to that, so I have my DVD here, and I will be watching that. So I'm going to jump on here and just give it a watch. I'll pause this video, and then when I'm done, I'm going to pop back on, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Like I said, I got the clipboard of creeps, I got some trivia, I got some cool things to talk about. So stay tuned. I'm going to go check this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back after having just watched a rewatch of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Of course, we know the plot of this one. William Shatner plays Bob Wilson, a man with some mental health issues who is flying home with his wife when he sees a monster on the wing of the plane. Of course, he's the only one that sees it. No one else can see it for whatever reason. Every time other people look, the monster jumps away. And Bob Wilson is the lone person on the plane that can do something about it. And sure enough, he does something about it. And it's a great story. Really, really good. So, of course, this one aired on October 11th, 1963. And again, I got the clipboard of creeps here, and I want to talk about a couple of cool things that I found I thought were just noteworthy. And one of them was, of course, Richard Matheson, who wrote the original short story and then the teleplay for this episode. Said he liked the episode. He thought it was really good, but the only kind of point of contention he had with it was the design of the monster, which it was supposed to be like creepy and weird and a little like unseen and like human-like, but like not very predominant, just kind of like a shadowy kind of thing. And he said that this one looked like a panda bear. And I'll tell you, I can kind of understand that. I kind of see where he's coming from with that. It's not the scariest looking thing, let's put it that way. So the next thing I want to point out is a little bit about Richard Donner and his experience directing the episode. He said that it was a difficult shoot because they had to use special effects and they had to use a lot of the weather and just big sets to do the plane things. And he said that it caused a lot of work for them. They shot it in 2 days, and typically they did it in 3. but this one they had to cram 3 days worth of work into 2, and it led to some like long hours for the cast and crew. And that kind of segues into the third little tidbit I wanted to talk about. And on the set, William Shatner decided to play a prank on director Richard Donner. So his buddy Eddie Burns was in town and was kind of on the set to visit that day. And they made this elaborate prank where Eddie Burns and William Shatner pretended to get in a fight with each other. And Richard Donner was kind of like in another part of the set. He was like not near them. And they started faking this fight. And they climbed up on the wing part of the set. And Richard Donner kind of came running to see what all the ruckus was about. And he saw a figure fall and hit the floor. And he thought it was William Shatner being shoved off this wing by Eddie Burns. And he freaked out and he went running. And it was a dummy that they found on another part of the lot. And they threw that off the wing. And when Richard Donner got to find it, he saw it wasn't Shatner dead or seriously injured. It was this dummy. And he turns around and everyone's laughing and hooting about it. And of course, Richard Donner obviously was relieved to find out it wasn't Shatner that fell off the wing. But his response to that was, he said, honestly, his first reaction was, I don't want to have to shoot this whole episode all over again. This, to me, like I've said before, is one of my favorite episodes. It's definitely up there on the top 5. Just many things about it I like. For one, of course, we have Shatner playing this part, and you can kind of see the beginnings of his style that he would showcase a lot in Star Trek a couple of years later. But those tight movements, that cadence he has, kind of comes out in this episode, and I love it for that, because you just kind of get like a little bit of that style that he would put on full display in Star Trek a few years later. I also appreciate just how it resonates in the culture. This thing has been parodied in things. It's been remade. It appeared as a one of the vignettes in the Twilight Zone, the movie that came out a while later. It's been remade in other incarnations of the Twilight Zone, so it has definitely resonated with audiences. And to me, when I think of the Twilight Zone, I think of 3 things. I think of Rod Serling doing his beginning of the episode talk to the audience, talk to the camera. I think of the opening credits, the opening sequence with the music, and that iconic kind of theme that comes with the Twilight Zone. And I think of this episode. The first episode that pops into my mind is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, which is kind of a feat when you think about it, because this is one that was not written by Serling. It was written by Matheson, and that's pretty impressive to me, that an episode that doesn't even necessarily have Serling's fingers all over it, has another writers in it, just can hold its own with some of the best that the show ever did. And that's just a testament to Matheson's ability and just his talent, and I appreciate it for that. Okay, that's our episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Let me know what you think. It's one of my favorites, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, thanks again for taking the time to watch. I appreciate it, and until next time, have a good one.